Hello, everyone. It's Thursday, November 18th, 2021. I am Sally Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. And welcome, Petty Deb and Frankie. You guys are the first ones to arrive. And we'll let everyone else just trickle in. Okay, so I'm going to get started. So today we are going to talk about do-overs. If you were allowed one do-over in life, what would it be? God has allowed you one do-over. How would you spend it? Will history repeat itself and you'd have a continual Groundhog Day? If anyone remembers that movie, Groundhog Day. So how would you if you had one do-over, what would you do? Would you not be an asshole for one day? Would you help someone that you should have helped before and you didn't do it? Would you redo a school year? Would you, redo a marriage, a relationship? What would you do? Many times people wish they had do-overs. And a lot of times, even if we, I'm not going to say if we're allowed to do over, even if we are able to do something over, sometimes we continuously screw it up. So, welcome, Crucible Man. So, again, the definition of a do-over: a new attempt or opportunity to do something after a previous attempt has been unsuccessful or unsatisfactory. The illusion that one can get things right with persistence. So, again, if you had a do-over, I mean, there's so many things in life that we screw up, and we wish we could do over. Be it, like I said before, be it a relationship, be it school, be it work, be it your friends. You wish you had befriended someone. You wish you had not befriended someone. So I'm going to open it up. And Frankie, I'm going to send an invite to you, even though I know that you are at work. But one of these days, maybe you will be able to talk. And I know you want me to do those weekend shows. All right. So I have sent invites out. Does anyone want to come on and tell me what they think of do-overs? Petty Deb, you are coming on first. All right, I think you are. Okay. I think you were trying to come on. I'll send this one back out to you. All right, so. Okay, Petty Deb, it keeps saying that you're on speaker, but I don't see you. You have to, well, I know you're hitting, you have to hit that little phone icon. Okay. Try it one more time. Try it one more time. This time I'm not going to send out the invite. Just hit that phone icon on the bottom left of your screen. Okay, not sure what is going on, but I am not picking you up. All right. So for me, if I okay, there you go, there you go. So let's see if we can catch you this time. There
Can you?
you are. There you are. Okay.
Okay, I was on my laptop and I was using a emulation program that wasn't working too well. Yeah, if I could change one thing in life, I would be more compassionate and I would listen to the older people around me.
So okay, now see now you're about to get into a whole different subject. When you say listen to the older people around you, are you saying that older people necessarily have more wisdom?
Oh, no, 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 no. It's like, you know how everybody has a story.
Mm-hmm.
So I would listen to their stories. I would listen to their histories because there are a lot of things that, people did that, just the average person isn't aware of.
Okay, got it. Got it. Okay, okay. You know what? And you're absolutely right. We do have people the older people who have come before us. They do have stories to tell. So you are absolutely right there. GP Man 45, welcome. So, is there hold on one second. I'm trying to figure out something on my mouse here, and I kicked everyone out before. There we go. Okay, welcome GP Man 45 and welcome Revolutionary Bro. So, does anyone else have anything that they want to share in terms of if they had a do over? Is there anything that you would do over? Um, Anyone want to share? I'll send out some more invites. GP Man, I know you are busy, but I am still going to send it out to you. Okay, there we go. Because when we say, do over, for me, I always come back to my first semester of my sophomore year of high school. I wish I could do that one over, grade wise. Um, you know, um, I wish that some relationships that I did not pursue in high school, I wish that I did. There are some relationships that I, had as an adult that I wish that I didn't. Um, you know, and they say that history tends to repeat itself. So, do you think that's true? That if you were allowed one do over, um, and I don't mean a do over in terms of school or you went to take your driver's test and you didn't pass, and you had to do it again. I'm talking about a do over that you only had one chance to get it right the first time, and you didn't. So, do you think that history would tend to repeat itself? That if God did allow you that do over, that you would screw it up again, or you wouldn't do it right, or the outcome would be the same? Anybody? Okay, because I tend to think that for some people, not everyone, but for some people, we tend to do things the same way. Like sometimes you just don't learn the first time. Revolutionary Bro, I saw you submit that, and I don't know if I grabbed it on time. So let me do this again for you. There you go. Hello, Revolutionary Bro. How are you?
How you doing? I'm
I,
sorry. I didn't know whether or not you saw it.
well, sometimes they pop up really fast, and I have to grab it. So, what is up?
I like the tag that you put on the end of that question because your initial question was if you had one chance to have a do-over, would you try to do it over? And then you tagged on it. If it didn't go right the first time because history repeats itself, would it turn out with the result be the same? And I really believe that the result would be the same. I
And
really believe that.
and why do you say that?
The
Okay,
reason why
wait. Before you answer that, is it depending upon what the do over is, or you just think that it'll be the same period?
it'll just be the same period, because I believe that a major portion of our life is already predetermined. And if it's predetermined for you to be a pastor, let's just say, for instance, the result of your life right now might be that you're a pastor. If you had a do over and went to law school, some would probably find a way to mess that up because you're preordained to be a pastor. Like, I really believe that we have destinies. And one of the ways that we come to our destiny is that something, maybe even a wind, blow us in that direction. I
Okay.
believe that I believe that the bad relationships that you had that you wouldn't do if you had another chance to do it over, I believe that these were experiences that you needed to groom you to become who you ultimately became.
Okay, so you're okay. Let's talk about the relationship part, because so if you were in okay, you said that the do over would be the same for everything. So if you were in a bad relationship before, do you
Mhm.
think that you would be in your next relationship would also be bad?
No, I don't mean like a continuum of bad relationships. I mean that if you, all right, put it this way, everybody who has kids, like you might have a man in Chicago who meets a lady all the way from China and they have a child. I believe that they were destined to meet because that child was destined to come, and the only two individuals that could bring them about would be that man and that lady. So even if he was put to do a do over, I believe if his goal was to avoid her, he'll probably end up with her all over again. If
Hmm.
he came back within that lifetime with the do over. Now, if he had a whole nother lifetime that was separate from the one of the do over, he would probably make different choices. But in our lifetime, I think we're destined to make some of the mistakes or things that we perceive as mistakes that we make.
Very good points. Very good points. Very good points. Does anyone want to add on to that? Anyone want to join in? Anybody? Okay, so I'm going to ask Revolutionary Bro another question then. So in terms of relationships, so the people that we're married to or the people that we're dating, whatever, you think that no matter what, I just want to make sure that we
Uh-huh.
are destined to be with these people.
All right. Most of us are religious by default. And what I mean by that is most of us come from families to the where the people prior to us had those religions and they just brought us into the fold.
Hmm.
So many of us believe in trial and tribulation that you go through to gain the experience of life to navigate through this life. And some of the experiences that we have prepare us to sit in the driver's seat of our life. And with minus those relationships that equip, think about this. Most women learn what type of man that they wanted in their lives by being in different relationships. They say, "Oh no, I don't want nobody to act like that." Or I want so if they find a good husband, that good husband came by way of staying away from the type of dudes that would be the individual that they didn't want to be in a relationship with. Some of us find gold by going through bronze.
Very interesting. Very interesting for what you just said. Very, very interesting. Again, does anyone want to pick up on what Revolutionary Bro said? And welcome your nickname. Okay. um, okay, Crucible Man. He wants to say something. What do you want to say, Crucible Man?
I tend to agree with Revolutionary Bro. I think there is a element or a chunk of our lives that are predetermined, and I think because we are creatures of habit, things that we might do over may turn out the same because our thought process probably would be similar the second or third or fourth time around. And I don't know if this example necessarily fits your definition of a do-over, but you know, I had plenty of opportunities when I was younger. Had several relationships and had plenty of opportunities to get married, and I chose not to. At every opportunity, the relationship ended because I did not want to move forward with marriage. And in hindsight, I think if I had to do it over again, my instinct would be to say, well, I would get it right because I would assess it differently, knowing what I know now. But if you take the element of knowing what you know now out of it, I tended to look at those potential marital situations in the very short term. In other words, all of the diaper changing, all of the little league games, all of the things that no parent necessarily enjoys, but they go through it because of the benefits down the road, the enjoyment of raising children, the fulfillment and all that stuff. So I think I would have, if I had another bite at that apple, probably would have come to the same conclusions because there's like Revolutionary Bro said, we are somewhat destined to do certain things, but if our thought process and our evaluation process would be the same the second time around, why would it be reasonable for me to conclude I would make a different decision? I would probably still assess it in the short term without anticipating or understanding that as you get older in life, your life changes, your social circle changes, and you come to rely on a closer circle, i.e. your family, your spouse and your kids and your grandkids. And as I look back, just personally, that was a missed opportunity. But I have no reason to believe if I had it to do over again, I would assess it correctly.
Okay, so you've made some interesting points, and also I just want everyone to know that when other people are talking, I automatically mute others. If you don't mute yourself, I will mute you, mainly just so background noise doesn't come in. But I do know who wants to talk next and what have you. So I'm going to hand it over to Revolutionary Bro, and then I'm going to hand it over to Petty Deb. But I do want to mention one thing to Crucible Man. Diaper changes weren't always fun, depending what was in the diaper. But in terms of the little league games and the soccer games, as a parent, I had a ball. You're out there to support your kid, and I enjoyed all of that. I enjoyed going on the field trips, never missed not one. I enjoy helping with the art, the school projects that they were supposed to turn in that you usually ended up doing. I enjoy all of that. So, Revolutionary Bro, I'm going to hand it over to you, and then I will hand it over to Petty Deb. So, what did you want to say?
Um, I agree with the majority of the stuff that Crucible Man said. And one of the reasons that I agree is because we are creatures of habit. I don't know how many people might be aware of this, but let me just give an example of what I'm about to talk about. Okay. When I was younger, right, my mom was a thick lady. My grandmom was a thick lady. My aunts, some of them were thick. Some of my girl cousins. So I grew up having the archetype of the women that I preferred. And most of them were healthy ladies. Now, they weren't obese. They weren't on my 700-pound life. You understand what I'm saying? But they weren't women who preferred to die all day, every day, 365 days a year. So we are people of habit, and we tend to go pretty much in the same direction over and over again, which is insanity because for the most part, we go in the same direction looking for different results.
Okay, all right. You've made a good point. Petty Deb, what do you want to say?
Okay, if I had did one thing outside of being more compassionate, um, it would have been to concentrate on school. Now, if I had concentrated on school, I never would have went in the military, and I probably never would have left the state of South Carolina, and I never would have gotten married to a guy. I would have been, gay. Kids, maybe, but I mean, that's just how different my life would be. The only thing that I couldn't change would be my transition. Everything else I had would have a control over, like in relationships. So I am a creature of habit like that, where I choose bad relationships regardless. I always choose someone who's totally opposite from me, and that don't necessarily work.
Okay, all right, all right. That's interesting. Does anyone have anything that they want to add to what Petty Deb, Revolutionary Bro, and Crucible Man said? Anybody? And Frankie, thank you for your pod bean. And Petty Deb and Frankie, thank you. And GP Man, thank you for liking the show. Revolutionary Bro, thank you for liking the show. All right. So I'll circle back around the Crucible Man. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think the key to the whole do-over thing is, would there be a different outcome? Like Revolutionary Bro said, and I agree with him. We keep going in the same direction, looking for a different result, and we haven't changed anything fundamentally in our thinking, in our thought process, and how we evaluate different things, how we evaluate risk, how we look at the short term and the long term. And most do-overs, I think people would target would be something that happened early in their lives when they were younger, because I think maybe do-overs is another way of saying, and I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but I'm speaking for myself, is another way of saying, maybe a regret. And as I said in my previous comment, if you go back around again, armed with different knowledge, does it necessarily follow that you would make a different decision? You're the same person, and you're going to evaluate things the same way. So is there even such a thing as a do-over? Because we tend to go in circles because we tend to be the same person. So I agree with what Revolutionary Bro said, because I have lived it. And as you get older, and I'm a little bit of an older person now, those do-overs tend to loom larger in your rearview mirror than they would when you were younger. Because when you're younger, you can always tell yourself, I'm young enough still where I can do it over. If I were 30 years younger, I could still tell myself, you can still get married and have kids, but there comes a point in your life where reality sets in, and that there is no do-over anymore. And I think that point comes as you get older in your years.
Okay. Those are some interesting comments. GP Man, I see you're trying to get on, but I don't see you. I don't see you. But you are more than welcome. Another definition of a do-over is to do something again because you did not do it well the first time. Um, in terms of getting older and it, you know, I think people too put too much emphasis on getting older. You can still get married when you are older. People who are in their 80s, yes, they get married, because they want a relationship, they want a companion. Um, are you going to be able to have biological children? No, but there are still things that you can do when you get older, and those do-overs are possible. You can still travel. You can still go out every night and party. There are a lot of things that you can do when you are over, and those do-overs are possible. So for that, I would say, I think, don't limit yourself just because you're getting older. To me, that's an excuse. And then when you say, is a do-over a regret? I don't think so, because there are some things that people actually really regret doing or regret not doing. I think a do-over, you're getting that chance, that possibility. It is a possibility for you to get it right or change the outcome. So, having said that, I'm going to welcome Tony, and I'm going to welcome Shy Lady. So, both of you, welcome. Does anyone want to jump in? Uh, okay, GP Man, you're trying to come back on, and I caught you that time. There you are, GP Man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You want to say something? What do you want to say?
Hello, hello. Well, this is my first time calling in.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I've been on the clock. I finally got off. But yeah. So when it comes to do-overs, some of the things you guys were saying, it's really interesting how everybody has different walks of life and how they see a do-over. For me, happened to me when I was 12. So both of my parents are from a small town, meaning both of my grandparents, all my grandparents lived in the same town. Even my great grandma lived in the same small town. But so the summer when I was 12, I went home to go. Well, I went to the small town to go visit my grandparents, spent my summer over there. And my great grandma was 97 at the time. And she was very nice, very sweet lady, even though she was blind. So I would always hang out with my cousins because I was just a kid. I was 12. Hang out with my grandparents. Of course, they were a whole lot younger. Hang out with my aunts, my uncles. But I never got to go see my great grandma that summer. And every day I'd be like, yeah, I'll go next day. I'll go the next day. I'll go visit my great grandma the next day. And before you knew it, the summer was over and it was time to go home. And when I got home, I was like, well, I'll just go visit great grandma next summer. And sadly, she died the week right after I came home at 98. Her birthday was that week she died. And I've had that regret for the rest of my life. But it's made me value life a whole lot more, value my friends and my family. I would say that would be my only do-over. Definitely. You want to value life because also this pandemic has showed you I lost friends and family as well. So it just gives you a better perspective on the value of life.
Well said. Well said. And I'm sorry to hear about your great grandmother. Well, but that was well said. Does anyone want to pick up on what GP Man said? Anybody want to comment? If not, welcome Gifty Ba. If not, I am going to make the rounds again, and I am going to go to Revolutionary Bro. What do you want to say? Do you have anything you want to add?
Yes, GP Man is right on point when he dialed death in with the do-over. As a matter of fact, last year, 2020, my youngest sister, who's still older than me, she was just the youngest of my four sisters. I was supposed to go to Jersey for like the last 3 years prior to that. So I just kept putting off, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go. And I talked to her one time in 2020, maybe 3 or 4 months before she died. And I told her that I would be there within a couple of months. And she was sickly at the time and she died due to um, the COVID virus complications. And I really regret that I never went down there. And now I'm to the point where I won't let 6 months go by that I don't go and visit just the family that I really love, because we got to understand that everybody in your family is not your friend. We value family based on the word family, but there's a difference in somebody being a family member, meaning they're related to you, and an actual friend to you. Because the friends in your family you hang with, y'all go to gatherings together, y'all go out together. But the family members that you have that's just family members, whenever you see them, it's like, hey, family, what's up? And you don't have to see each other another 6 to 8 months. Everybody's in your family is not your friends. But I do, like GP Man said, I regret not making certain moves when I had the chance to make them.
And I think that falls into the category of regret. But again, if you could do that over, make another decision as opposed to the decision that you made right then and there, then yes, I would see that as a do over. So I'm going to circle around to Petty Deb. Do you have anything you want to say?
Nope.
Okay, I'm just making the round. I'm just going through to see who's already on. Does anyone else want to come on? Juju, I know you're enjoying your time at the pool. So, does anyone else have anything that they want to add? All right. So, I was going to do a show on regrets. Do you have any regrets? But this show is kind of intersecting the do-overs and regrets. So I'm going to ask: do you think there's a difference between a do-over and a regret? Anybody want to take that one? I will go to Crucible Man.
Well, since I think I was the one who initiated that comparison, I would say yes. Anytime I think, and I'm just again speaking for myself, you are talking about doing something over, you're unhappy with the result. Is that the same as a regret? I don't want to split hairs or get into semantics or anything, but I would say yes. You're wishing something had turned out differently. So is that the same as saying you regret that you didn't make a different decision? I think it depends on the person. Regrets has a negative connotation to it. Do-over has a more hopeful connotation to it because it implies there's a second chance. A regret kind of implies that it's too late. Again, that's just my own personal interpretation, but I think absolutely regret and do-overs are very closely aligned.
Okay. Well, one definition of regret is feeling sad, repentant, or disappointed over something that has happened or has been done, especially a loss or missed opportunity, or a feeling of sadness, repentance or disappointment. So we have two similar meanings of regret. Or an emotion of wishing one had made a different decision in the past because of the consequences of the decision were unfavorable. Regret is related to perceived opportunity. So I think regrets do tend to have a negative connotation. If I say I do regret some things, I regret not visiting my parents, but especially my father when I had the opportunity to do so. I wish I had done that, and that is one thing that I regret constantly. But thankfully, in later years, or later I was able to, go back and forth and spend time with him before he passed away. But I wish that I had used the opportunity that I had previously, to spend that additional time with him. So I'm going to go to Shy Lady. Shy Lady's been waiting patiently. How are you, my friend?
Hi, can you hear me?
I sure can.
I just want to say that I don't really have any regrets, but I do have a do-over. When I was younger, I wouldn't say kind of very introverted. I the do-over I would probably have for myself is I would be a little bit more outgoing and maybe not been so afraid to join like cheerleading, things like that. If I had a do-over, if I can go back middle school, junior high, I'd be a cheerleader. I would do more things that.
And you are going out. Okay, Charlie. Are you there? Okay, Shy Lady, I cannot hear you, but if you want to come back on, you are more than welcome to. All right, so I'm going to go to GP Man. GP Man, do you want to pick up on what anyone said in terms of regrets and do-overs? Do you think they're the same thing?
Well, I would say they go along the same lines, but it's just more of the one do over is what something that really, what wound cut really deep that till this day still hurts. That still, you can feel it. You can remember that day. Just like the day, for those of you who remember 9/11, everybody remembers what we were doing that day.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with this. It's something that had a huge impact on your life and you want to do a redo over. And a do over is not like, well, I was playing blackjack and I should have went all in kind of thing. That could have been a do over, yeah, but not in the same level of effect it would have done. You know, something that really impacted your life. I think that's where it kind of goes hand in hand, regret and do over.
Okay. All right. I'm going to read some of the comments here. Crucible Man says regrets are important to remember for lesson purposes, but people shouldn't beat themselves up over things they can't change. And Tony says, I regret I did not get married and have kids. I always worked so hard on my wealth. Now I find myself a little lonely. Okay, so Tony, I think you answered my question once before. Did you say you were 37 years old? 35. Okay, so in terms of regretting that you did not get married and have kids, you're still young enough to do that. You can still get married and you can still have children. I mean, I didn't get married until I was 35, and I had my son at 37. So you are still young enough, and and able, that window is still open for you in terms of children. And in terms of getting married, to me, that window is open until the day you die. You could be 110 years old and you can still get married. So and Juju says that she got married at 40. So again, the windows of opportunity are there. And then in terms of regrets for lessons purposes, yeah, that is true. But there are things that that people like GP Man says, that there are things that that he thinks about that still hurts him, and it hurts. And I understand that. So there are things that you regret and wish that you had or had not have done. So okay, so I'm gonna go back to Shy Lady. Are you there? Because you might want to go out and come back in. Okay, she is out. All right. So Petty Deb, I'm going to circle back to you. Is there anything you want to say?
Nope, not at all.
All right, I'll circle back. Revolutionary Pro, I know you have something you want to say.
That just sounds terrible, but I do. All right. Well, let me say this. First and foremost, I want to say to Tony that I envy her. And one of the reasons why I say that I envy her is I don't regret being a parent. I just wish I waited to 35 to have my first child because then I would have been mature enough and intelligent enough to do a way better job than I did at 17. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I want to say my hat's off to Tony. Oh, I'm sorry, Tony. If you're a female, I'm sorry. If you're a male, I'm sorry. Um, I just looked at the spelling of it, and I'm sorry. I took for granted it was kind of a feminine spelling. I'm
Well,
I'm sorry,
he says you are okay. So
but the point I'm trying to make is I think sometimes having children at young ages can be a regret. But I want to say something to the question of your regret and do over. I want to say that you know how people say when it's magicians, they say, "Well, pick a card," right? I think the cards that we get to pick, we pick from the cards of regrets to create the do-overs. Because most of the things that we've done in our lives that we regret are the things that we might want to do over the most because I don't think we want to do over what got us success. So it is the cards of regret that you pick from when you make up your mind which one of these regrets would I rather have the chance of doing over. Because those are the, like you said, the disappointing stages of our lives. Those are the sad stages of our lives. And we would love to make it better.
that's interesting that you say that, revolutionary bro. Because now I'm going to ask you when you say you wouldn't necessarily redo a success. So if you were Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or Steph Curry or someone, do you think that if they had a chance to do their basketball career over or football, whatever, that they would want to do it and even make it more successful than they've already have done it, or
I,
it's already been done?
I understand where you're going. All right, so let me answer that from this perspective. Let me just say that at some point in our lives, we reach an impasse that we can't go above. So, why would you want to take a very successful, suitable career and try to do it over when you're not guaranteed to reach the heights that you reached in the first place? See, this is why we don't want to do over our success stories because we're not guaranteed to get back to that level. The only do overs that we want to do are the lows of our lives because we know with just a little bit more minimal effort, we can do better than that.
Okay, but okay, now I'm going to say you're contradicting yourself a little bit because earlier you said
Uh
that
huh.
that if people have a do-over, that more than
Uh
likely
huh.
they're destined to repeat the same thing, and history will repeat itself.
All right. All right. This is what I'm saying. We might go in the direction that we went, which is up if we're successful. But understand this, it can have a few different dynamics that even though you still had a prominent career, it'll still be just a little bit less than you left it. Say, for instance, Michael Jordan had 356 steals at the end of his career. He had 260 rebounds and 10,000 points. Let's say, for instance, he do it over. He could still get that high, but if he has less steals and less rebounds, then other people come up and surpass him in that area, then he might just be a little bit more insignificant than he is now. It don't mean that he wasn't good, but that don't mean that he can be as great as he was in the
But
first
isn't
place.
okay? But wouldn't Michael Jordan still be the same person if he's still the same person?
Yeah, he
Wouldn't he
would
still have
still be the same
the
person,
skills?
but if he did it over again, it depends on the era. That, just say for instance, he had the do-over, right? And he's 56, 57 now. Let's just say for instance he do over. And now you make him 27, 28 in this era.
Hmm.
He got a way, it's like a whole basketball is like in this era is like a whole nother level from the era that he played at. So he could do either way better or he might not do as well, because you got to remember Michael Jordan played at a time when it wasn't Jordan-esque people. Now it's every team got a Jordan today. They got somebody that's at least Jordan-esque. And the thing about it is, can he be Jordan amongst the sea of Jordans? Like Jimi Hendrix, very good guitar player. But I think Lenny Kravitz is better because Lenny Kravitz got to see him, compare himself to him, and aspire to be greater. Prior to Jimi Hendrix, there were no other Jimi Hendrixes.
Okay, I understand. Okay, I understand fully what you're saying, but I will I will disagree with
I'm
you.
sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, I will disagree with you on the Jimi Hendrix and Lenny Kravitz point. Lenny Kravitz is good. I mean, Lenny Kravitz is excellent, but Jimi Hendrix, I'm sorry. I no one can touch him. But that's a
Oh,
whole different show.
I'm sorry, but the reason why I made that comparison is simply because when you look at like people who have already existed, those people become the standard. And everybody's job in life is to be at or above the standard. And this is why when people not acting a certain way, we call them substandard, because some people set the bar and sometimes the bar is placed really high. And if you achieve at the bar level or above the bar, that's a whole nother level of greatness. And I
Okay.
think that some and I think that some people have not only aspired, but some people achieved that goal. Because I
Okay.
thought it would never be another Dr. J, but Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan proved that wrong.
All right, you have made your point. No problem, Tony. I always want to extend the invitation. I'm just looking at your comments. All right, so I'm going to circle back around. Let's see. Shy Lady said you'll jump in a few. I will go to Crucible Man. Then I'm going to go to GP Man. You have anything you want to say, Crucible Man?
Not at this time.
All right, all right. GP Man, do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah. Well, based on what he was saying, yes, it gets to a certain point. Just like when it was the '97 draft. I mean, you had the Chargers take Ryan Leaf, and then you had Peyton Manning get taken by the Colts, and we all know what happened next. So it goes under that type of scenario. The do over. Hey, I could have taken Peyton Manning instead of Ryan Leaf, and I would have had me a Super Bowl out of that guy instead of a drug addict. So, yeah, I get what he was saying, and yeah, I agree with what he was saying. It goes hand in hand. So you do have that choice that it could have gone either or, but you really don't know, and that's where I guess the do-over comes over the regret. I mean, they kind of go hand in hand, just like he says. You're given a set of hand of cards, but all those cards seem to be a regret card.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Petty Deb, do you have anything you want to say?
I'm good.
All right. So it's interesting because you guys keep throwing out these different scenarios. So I'm like, okay, am I going right? Am I going left? but you guys are all making a very good point. Um, so do you okay, I'm sure a lot of you, maybe some of you all don't remember the movie Groundhog Day, when the day kept repeating itself over and over and over and over, no matter how much I think Bill Murray was in that movie, tried to change it. It was the same thing over and over and over and over and over. So let me ask something to I'm just going to throw this out here, not necessarily to Revolutionary Bro, but just asking a question. So we have he said that today there are a lot of Jordans that are out there. Dr. J was supposed to be like one of the greatest, and then Jordan, Kobe, everybody proved him wrong. But if the game changes, if the rules of the game change, and I don't mean necessarily in sports, I mean just in life, period. If the rules of the game change, does that mean that your do over could be better or could be worse? And if you want to look at it in terms of, if I want to throw in basketball, the rules of basketball have changed, in the last 20 years. What Jordan was doing and what Dr. J was doing, or could not do, is different from what Steph Curry can do now. So again, I don't want to just keep it with sports, but if the rules of life change, if something changes, does this mean that your do-over could turn out better or turn out worse? Anybody want to take that one? I will start with Crucible Man.
Yeah, I think this kind of goes to what Revolutionary Bro said a while back. If we're kind of, and I don't like using the word program, but if we're kind of predisposed to certain behaviors, would the outcome be any different? We are the same person employing the same thinking process. So is it realistic to think that you could expect a different outcome? That's kind of a rhetorical question, but I'm curious to hear what you think, Solid Blue.
Can you repeat that? Can you repeat the last part?
I said, if we were to do something different, I'm sorry. Could you? Let's just back up a little minute. I apologize. Could you repeat what your first statement was, Solid Blue? Sorry.
All right, I'm saying if okay, I even forgot what I said. Okay, if the rules of life change, if the game changes, does that mean that our do-over could be better or could it be worse?
That's an excellent question. I think it could go either way. But if the rules of life changed, does that mean something in ourselves has changed along with it? Because if the rules of life have changed, but we're still the same person, then I wouldn't think that the outcome would be any different just because the rules of life have changed. Maybe the definition of the rules of life would have to be more precisely defined. But if the rules of life are changing and we're changing with those rules of life, and I don't think that's what you said, but I'm just sort of inserting that, then yes, I think you could reasonably expect a different outcome. But just because the rules of life have changed, if we're the same person, then wouldn't we draw the same conclusions and have the same outcomes?
All right. I am going to answer that question in a moment. GP Man 45 says 2020 was Groundhog Day every day. It most certainly was. It most certainly was. It was absolutely Groundhog Day every day. I am going to answer your question, Crucible Man, but I'm going to go to Revolutionary Bro. Do you want to say something? Okay, you are still muted. So, not sure what's going on there. Okay. Petty Deb, you want to say something?
I'm good.
And GP Man, I'll come back to you, Revolutionary Bro, but your mic does not seem to want to unmute. GP Man.
No, I've got nothing else to add right now.
All right, just making the rounds. And Shy Lady, whenever you want to jump in. Daniel, welcome back, my friend, welcome. All right, so you know when you talk about the rules of life, I think the rules of life pretty much change every day, and I say that because one day you're able to do this, one day you're not supposed to do that. One day you may have this opportunity, another day that opportunity may be gone. You go to the store and you buy something, and then you come back home and you say, dang, I should have bought two. Then you go back to the store and they're all gone. So I think that when, in terms of a do-over, I think things will be different. But I also think that if you have a do-over for success, you can get better. Things can get better for you. Um, and things can get worse. I think it all depends upon how you look at something. If you're looking at something always with the with the glass half full, that's the response or reaction you are going to get. If you look at life, with the or whatever you're doing, your task with the glass half full, then your result is going to be different. If you look at life consistently in the negative, that's the result that you're going to get. If you look at life, consistently, or try to look at it, in the positive, I think that your result, your do-over, is going to be different. That's my answer. So I'm going to open it up again. Does anyone have anything that they want to add? Anybody? Let's see. Okay. Revolutionary Bro, I'm not sure what's going on with your mic. If you want to jump in, you can. So, let's see. Shiley, did you want to jump in, or are you good? Okay, I'm good. Okay, Crucible Man, you want to say something?
No, I'm good.
Everybody's good. Everybody's good. All right, so um, this was an interesting topic. So I guess I won't be doing my regret show, because again, this one was this one intersected whatever. But for me, basically, in terms of doing do-overs, like I said, everyone has a do-over that they would like to do. People have regrets, but for the most part, just in terms of how you approach life, you're either going to approach it in the negative, you're going to approach it in the positive. But no matter what your station is in life or how old you are, there is just so much out there that that the world has to offer, that uh you can just grab and just do so many things. So having said that, I will ask again, does anyone want to have the last word? I'm giving someone the last word. And Juju says, absolutely. And thank you, everyone, for liking the show. I really appreciate it. Whoa, Frankie, you're giving me a golden mic. Thank you, girl. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. Let me just go through the comments really fast. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Let's see, GP Man UK, you are off. All right, so I guess that's it. Does anyone want to say anything else before we end it? Let's see. Solid, you keep throwing curveballs. You locked it out of the ballpark. Okay, not sure what you mean by that. Could you be a little bit more specific? You were great. Oh, thank you. You were great this week. Well, thank you. Again, this show does not work without all of you. So, guys, that is it. Today is Thursday, which is my Friday. I will not be doing a show tomorrow. I will see you back on Monday, the 22nd. Monday, the 22nd. Let's see. And Gigi says, thank you, Solid Blue Sister. And everyone liking the show, have a fabulous weekend. Yes, everyone else have a fabulous weekend. So with that said, I hope you guys always speak your truth. I'm Solid Blue Sister. This is my turn to talk. And I'll see you next week. Bye. Let's see, what other messages do I have here? Thank you, Revolutionary Bro, for liking the show. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what was going on with your mic. Let's see, Solid Blue Sister, you have mastered your show. Thank you, Juju. Thank you. I am having a blast, and I enjoy doing this show. And I want to give people, an opportunity to talk. I want to, give them a platform if they want to say something. I know sometimes, Charlie says, I can tell. I mean, I know at times, it can get a little contentious, whatever. But hey, people have their opinions and what have you. I know I have mine, but I want to give everyone the opportunity. So try to keep it respectful. But sometimes you gotta remind people, fact versus fiction, so to speak. But that's okay, Revolutionary Bro. You said a lot today. You said a lot today. In fact, you were preaching. So thank you. Tony, thank you very much. And one day I hope you are able to come on and take the mic. And Juju, when you come on, I'm gonna have to use my sound effects again. I'm gonna have to give you some applause. But next week, topics will be, well, you'll see. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.